Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Wildlife Talks episode. Hope you guys are doing well, hope you guys are staying safe, and I am excited to get to your guys' photos today. Last week, I threw up 4 photos for you guys to edit and send back over to me, talk about what I like, think could be improved a little bit, and I am excited to look at those. I have not looked at those yet, had my wife upload the 3 best photos from each photo that she thought onto my phone, that way I can review them with you guys right here on the spot. And I am excited to get to those. Let's talk about your guys' next challenge for the next week. So, what I want to do for you guys is next week in our next Wildlife Talks, we're going to be talking about some of the myths of bird photography or wildlife photography. So what I want you guys to do is just simply comment below. What is a myth or 2 that you think that kind of we have as a stigma of what bird photographers maybe need to do in order to be a good bird photographer? A wildlife photographer needs to be able to have to be a good wildlife photographer. So I just want you guys to comment those things right down in the comments below. And next week, I'll pick out some of those things. We'll talk about some of those things as well as add in some of my own input on that. We're going to talk about some of the myths surrounding wildlife photography and bird photography. So let's hop straight into your guys' photos and check out what they're like. Alright, so first photo we got for you guys today was a photo that I threw up last week of a pied-billed grebe. Just a shot I took on one of my earlier wildlife photography adventures and invited you guys to be able to edit it. So let's take a look at 3 of the best photos that my wife uploaded for me to view with you guys. So, first one, gorgeous photo. So I'm viewing on my phone, so I'm going to be zooming around a little bit, seeing some of the details, some of the noise, stuff like that. But this is a beautiful edit. I love this edit. It very much hangs on to the mysticism, I feel like, of what I was trying to capture in this photo. I like how you can see those little specks floating in the water. I like how the depth of field and those kind of the reeds, the sticks or whatever those are, those dried sticks, kind of give a lot of that vibe to it. And he did a really good job of accentuating that, I feel like, with still getting a lot of detail in those pied-billed grebes. Because if you zoom up close, you know, you have a nice detailed shot on all of them, yet you still kind of get that full view of everything that makes it feel really nice and mystical kind of. So I really like that. I like the coloring scheme he used. One of the things I really appreciate about this is just, those colors. It kind of feels a little bit mystical. I like how that blue is pretty muted. I like how you did a good job of that. And I like this shot overall. I am impressed. This is a good shot to start with. So props to getting such good detail on the pied-billed grebe and being able to see him well, amidst still making everything else look really nice and dramatic as well. That was one of the things I was concerned might be a problem sometimes. So beautiful job on that edit. That definitely is a qualifier for possibly winning this category. So let's go to the next one. So yeah, quite a different approach to it. So I can see the visionette on the sides brought up, so that way it kind of pulls your eye more towards the sides. Pied-billed grebes are definitely lightened up. I like that. I like that detail you're able to see in them. I think I feel like because of some of that lighting around the edges, I feel like it might lose a little bit of the drama in it, for my opinion. And again, all these things are my opinion today, guys, so this is, just the way that I would edit photos or what my eye kind of notices and what I kind of like, in my wildlife and bird photography. But I think I would have left that a little bit darker. It feels like it lightens up the scene a little bit too much, makes it feel a little bit too happy, rather than in the previous photo it felt like it was a little bit more dramatic, like you were really witnessing a moment, whereas this feels like it's a little bit more framed, almost as if this would apply to a portrait photo more. It feels a little bit too white, but I really like the job they did on accentuating the pied-billed grebe, being able to really pick him out, stand him out, and it looks really gorgeous in that aspect, and I really appreciate that, so great job on that. Next photo. Okay, so this one is cropped to a 16:9 frame, it seems like. So this one got cropped down to there. Definitely a different approach again. This one feels very, very moody and dark. So I like that moody and darkness feeling, but I think I would improve just some of the visibility maybe on this pied-billed grebe and some of the shadows around here. It feels quite a bit dark. I think I would appreciate it a little bit more if it was not quite so dark, but otherwise I really like how there's still a lot of mood, there's a lot of atmosphere to this photo, and I can appreciate that about this photo a lot. So great job on that photo, and I think I'm going to call the winner of this one, that first photo we saw. I really love the colors on this photo. I really love just the way you can still see that pied-billed grebe super well, yet you get just this amazing drama and scene as you look at the picture as a whole. So great job on that one. Who's the winner of that one? Inaki, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but great job. I'll throw your tag right below. Great job on that photo, and props for editing such a great photo there. I love it. I love the approach you took on that, and I can really appreciate that shot. So let's scroll through to our next photo. So, next photo we got a mourning dove that I captured just sitting on a branch. This isn't from any video specifically, just a photo I've taken in the past. And this photo was shot with the daylight right behind me. Pretty nice standard portrait type photo, so let's see what we got here. Some of the things I immediately are noticing is it seems quite a bit more dramatic. It also seems quite a bit more cool and quite a bit more desaturated. But I think I really like how there's certain aspects of this scene that kind of make it feel more dramatic once again. However, I think I would improve the coloring on this a little bit. I think the coloring is a little bit too desaturated. It feels a little bit too cold. Kind of feels a little bit too much, almost as if I was in the middle of a forest under a shaded canopy or something, but yet because of the way the daylight's hitting the bird exactly and some of the scene around it, it doesn't quite match that, I don't feel like. I think I would have improved the coloring on this quite a bit, made it a little bit more warmer, given the vibrance quite a bit more, maybe saturate it more, stuff like that, because I feel like there's something that kind of contradicts with the shot a little bit in this. However, I do like this mood. I think this is a great mood that you can set up for certain types of pictures. So it's not to say that the edit's bad, I just don't know if it matches this exactly. Great job on that. Next one. Alright, so I see immediately the crop was moved off a little bit to where he's framed a little bit more close to a third. And we took away some of like that empty space that we saw in the last photo. So I kind of like that. That's a good touch on it, I feel like. And I do notice that it's a little bit more saturated than the last one. I like that. Again, the cooler approach seemed to have been taken on this shot. I don't know if I like it getting quite as cool. However, it's definitely not as much as before. But I do notice that I feel like it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more vibrance or saturation in those greens on the leaves. And I like that about this shot. And I like the way that it was kind of adjusted in the crop. So I really appreciate that. That was a great job, great choice in that edit, and I like this photo, so great job on that shot. Alright, the final one. This one's cropped quite a bit to a 4/3 frame, it seems like. I like how this one has a lot more contrast to it. I like how it has a lot more color, stuff like that. However, I still think it feels a little bit desaturated. I think that all these three photos maybe are a little bit too desaturated, and there could have been ways to maybe bring that out a little bit more. And I think maybe some of that was trying to go for that more artistically unique point of view. But sometimes I think that with camera photos, when they come out raw, it can be a very big temptation to try to dramatically change that. I remember when I took this shot, it already looked halfway decent out of the camera in raw. And sometimes editing does a huge amount to the photo, but sometimes you just need to do little tweaks to get there. And I think maybe in this shot, it felt like there was a little bit too much that was needing to be tweaked. However, I do like how the colors come out more in this one and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that about this shot, but I think all three shots probably could have been saturated a little bit better. And again, I like the crop on this one. I like how he's framed on that third, and I kind of like the more box with this frame. I had trouble when I took this shot. I had trouble with how I kind of framed it, and I didn't quite like it myself. So critiquing myself on that, I didn't quite like how I framed the bird, just the positioning of the bird, stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to see what you guys would come up with, but I think out of all these crops, I kind of like this one the most in the aspect of it being a 4/3. I feel like it makes his kind of squarish body in this frame feel a little bit more natural. So I like the crop that was decided to be used on that. I think the winner of this photo will have to be the second shot. So second shot goes to Jody. So Jody actually has a YouTube channel, so I'll throw that in the description below too. But thank you, Jody. I'll list her tag below. I like the way that you cropped this shot. I like how it feels a little bit more vibrant. So I like the way you did that photo. Props for the edit, and go ahead and follow her below. So the next shot I want to talk about is a creative shot that I took of a red-winged blackbird during sunset. When I took this shot, I kind of had a silhouette in mind, a creative sort of imagery in mind, so I wanted to just see what you guys can come up with and do with the photo that I took. So let's take a look at it. So our first photo. So immediately I noticed that the crop was adjusted to a 1:1 frame, which is a very interesting take on that. I like the way that the red-winged blackbird is keeping that silhouette. I like the exposure in the sky. I think it's good how it's dark, dramatic enough below, bright but not over blown out above. And so overall, I just feel like I like this shot quite a bit. It has some nice colors. I appreciate that color scheme. It feels like it's almost a little bit purple in those clouds with a dark blue, nice orangish, bright orange there. And I like the coloring of the shot as well. The next photo let's look into. Oh wow, yeah, so quite a bit of a different type of take and imagery on this creative shot. So that's kind of what I was hoping for, was to see some of these contrasts. First of all, first thing I noticed about this one is obviously the shadows are dramatically brightened here. They framed it, I noticed, from the original photo that was taken with the blackbird in the center bottom. I noticed that they framed it to where now the blackbird is on a third on the left side and on the bottom. And I really like that. That is a really interesting take on it. I like that a lot. However, I don't know if I'm quite as happy with how much noise and grain comes up when these shadows are brightened so much. I also don't know if I like how it kind of brings everything to a certain amount of light, a certain amount of brightness, and I was kind of hoping for a little bit more drama, I felt like, in the scene. However, I feel like that's compensated a little bit with some of that fog in the bottom left corner. Kind of feels a little foggy there, so that gives a little bit more of that effect of drama in this photo. But I think I would have still rather taken a little bit of that darkness versus light contrast. Overall, very creative way to get creative with this shot. Thank you so much for just sharing that, for being inspired in that way, and thank you for that beautiful edit. The last photo that I'm going to be touching up on is this one right here. Ooh, I like this one. Yeah, this one turned out well. I really like this photo. I think that this one captures what I was going for really well. I think the crop stayed the same, so the crop wasn't adjusted here. However, I really like how you get a very fiery looking orange in this photo with those dark blues, those purples in there, mixed in there. And this feels very like, I don't feel like my eyes thrown off by anything in this photo. It feels very comfortable. It feels like it was meant to be shot this way. And this is, I think, kind of what I had some of my vision in mind with too. And so props for that edit. The Blackbird is nice and sharp still, the silhouette of him. And I just really appreciate this photo. I think it sets the mood that I was going for. And I love that orange. I love what you did with the orange there. I think the winner for the shot is gonna be this one. So this one goes to Nicholas. Great job, Nicholas. I love this edit. I love the way that you match these colors so well. And that's really what sells this image for me. So great job on this coloring and great job on the mood that you set in this photo, and I love this photo. All right, so last one. We got one more photo coming up. So the last shot we got coming up is a wood duck that I took with my old camera, the G9, back quite a while ago, year and a half ago, something like that. Let's see how it turned out. So we got a first edit, and the first thing that I noticed is that I really like how clear and detailed this wood duck is in it. It really feels like everything kind of just blends around him, and he is the focus of this shot. I think the coloring does a really good job of that, so I really appreciate that coloring here, how everything else feels very muted, and then it feels like, boom, the wood duck's head just stands out in his body. I like that take and that uniqueness of that coloring. So this is a beautiful shot. I really like this shot. Typically, I like things a little bit more saturated than this. However, I really like the way that that desaturated effect does that. So I'm quite happy with this shot. I don't know if this is the way I would have edited it, but I really do like the way that it was edited, and I can appreciate that a lot, and I see a lot of artistic vision in that, and I think that still makes for a very quality portrait. So great job on that edit, and let's flip to the next one and see what that's about. So this one, we got a quite a bit different take, so we can see that this one is immediately way more saturated. There's way more color in this one. And even around the wood duck, I'm seeing a lot more color, but even within the wood duck, I'm seeing quite a bit more color. What I also noticed is that the contrast seems to be decreased quite a bit. It seems a little bit more flat. So even though there's more saturation, it feels a little bit flatter in terms of contrast, and that kind of blends the colors a little bit more together. So I think I would have kept that contrast a little higher. It feels a little bit too blended together, in my opinion, but I do like how this photo offers more color on the wood duck. I like that a lot specifically. And so I can appreciate that a lot about this shot. The detail on the wood duck is good. I like the way it was edited. So I think this is a pretty good photo. This is a very, I think, good standard way to edit it that you really can't go wrong with. So great job on that edit. And the last photo we got, so this one went quite a different route. This is a very much more, I feel like, a artistic version or take on maybe this type of shot. Definitely not a typical wildlife photography edit that you would see. Definitely had a certain vision in mind. However, I do think that it probably is quite a bit too desaturated. It feels a little bit too cold, too gray, and I think that that kind of doesn't accentuate the wood duck's most amazing features, which is maybe the color in his head or a lot of the color in his body. But mostly that color in his head, I'm a little bit disappointed not to see that, knowing that the wood duck has a beautifully colored head. However, I can appreciate the framing that you put on it. I like that type of framing. That's a good take on it. I just think that the color could be improved quite a bit in this shot. It feels a little bit too cold, a little bit too gray. I'm not getting enough of the color that I was hoping to see in this photo, so I think a lot of that could be improved. But great job on the framing, on the edit, and thank you for submitting that photo. So I think the winner of this photo is probably going to be the first one again. I really like just how the wood duck's head stood out in this photo. I love the detail on it. I loved how sharp it was. I loved how everything else was pretty much muted and generally the same around it. I really like that take on it. And I really like how the wood duck just stands out and is your center of attention, grabs your eyes, but everything else blurs just to make a beautiful setting to preen himself in. So the winner of that photo is Again, it's a Naki. So great job, that's the second photo that you won today, but great job on that edit. I really like the way you edited that photo. Props for a beautiful edit there, and definitely go check out him in the description below. Check out his tag, give him a follow, and he's doing some great work. So I hope you guys enjoyed my edits. I hope that this was an entertaining time for you. I hope that you got to just see a little bit of my input in terms of how I like edits, what I think edits should look like, what I think is good in terms of creativity, in terms of how you want to edit your photos, how much risk you should take, how much you should be comfortable and safe in those photos. And just once again, all of this is my opinion. I'm not saying that I am the know-all, end-all in terms of these shots and these edits, so I don't want to discourage anyone. My hope is to encourage you guys just to be able to improve. We all have room to improve. I look back at some of my older photos sometimes and I just want to puke, especially by my edits. Editing is hard. Editing is one of the hardest things. And sometimes I look back at my edits and I'm just like, what was I thinking? So the idea, the goal of this was not to discourage anyone, but it's to encourage people to grow. And so I hope that you got something out of these edits today. I hope it kind of helped you figure out a little bit of what you like, what you should try more of. And if you want to check out how I edit some of my wildlife photos, check out the video in the description below. That was a video on how I do my wildlife edits in many different types of circumstances. It may be able to help you out quite a bit with your edits. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. Don't forget to take on that challenge. Put a comment below about what you think a myth about wildlife or bird photography is. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next Wildlife Talks. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.